Prepare yourself for an emotionally charged roller coaster. 1923 Season 2, Episode 7 delivers its most heart-wrenching chapter yet. Alexandra and Spencer's love, forged through trials across continents, now faces its greatest test, one that could shatter everything they fought for. With danger closing in from all sides and betrayal lurking in the shadows, their survival is anything but certain. As the Dutton legacy teeters on the edge of disaster, will their love withstand the storm, or are they doomed to be torn apart forever? With the season finale looming, every second counts, and the fate of their story hangs in the balance. The seventh episode of 1923's second season delivers a devastating blow to fans who have been rooting for Alexandra and Spencer since their passionate meeting in Africa. Their love story has been the emotional anchor of the series, providing hope amidst the brutal reality of the Dutton family struggles. But now, as the penultimate episode unfolds, that anchor may be ripped away forever. The episode opens with Alexandra awakening alone in their hotel room, Spencer's side of the bed empty and cold. The note beside her pillow simply reads, "I'll return by nightfall. Stay inside." But as hours pass and the sun begins to set, Alexandra's worry turns to dread. Spencer has never broken a promise to her before. Across town, in the shadows of a rain-slicked alley, Spencer finds himself trapped, outnumbered, outgunned, and hunted. The men encircling him bear the cruel smirk of vengeance, their leader stepping forward with a sneer. "Your time running is over, Dutton," he growls, holding up a crumpled telegram, a chilling reminder that Spencer and Alexandra's every move has been tracked across Europe. Spencer, hardened by the horrors of war and the unforgiving African wilderness, assesses his attackers with the cold precision of a survivor. But even he knows the odds: 6 armed men against 1. The fight is vicious, a blur of fists, steel, and desperation. Within moments, Spencer is left battered and bloodied, crumpled on the cobblestone as rain begins to fall, his lifeblood mixing with the city's filth. The sanctuary they sought has become a graveyard of shattered hopes. Back at the Yellowstone Ranch, Patriarch Jacob Dutton receives a mysterious telegram that causes his weathered face to pale. He doesn't share its contents with Kara immediately. Instead, staring out across the vast Montana landscape his family has fought and died to protect. Some legacies, he finally murmurs, are built on sacrifices too great to bear. Kara, who has weathered decades of Dutton tragedies, recognizes the look in her husband's eyes. It's the same look he had when they lost their son. "Tell me," she demands, steeling herself for news that might shatter what remains of their family. The telegram holds more than just troubling news. It's a lifeline wrapped in dread. It details Spencer's last known whereabouts and a violent incident involving an American fitting his description. For Jacob and Kara, the message forces an impossible choice: continue their bitter war against Banner Creighton and the powerful forces threatening their land, or risk stretching their already thin resources across oceans to rescue the nephew who may be their family's last hope. In the flickering firelight, their whispered conversation carries the weight of the Dutton legacy, a name built on sacrifice, where every generation pays a devastating price to keep it alive. Meanwhile, as darkness blankets the foreign city, Alexandra's anxiety turns into action. With no sign of Spencer, fear overrides his command to stay put. She grabs his spare pistol from their luggage and steps into the unfamiliar streets, her heart pounding louder than her footsteps. Once a sheltered British aristocrat, she is now a woman transformed by love and necessity, willing to brave the unknown for the man who changed her world. With desperation in her voice, she questions strangers, flashing a photograph of Spencer to indifferent eyes and uninterested shrugs, until finally a lone street vendor hesitates, then gestures toward a district where violence erupted earlier. A chill runs down Alexandra's spine. She may be closer to finding Spencer, but she has no idea what awaits her in the shadows ahead. The tension builds to an unbearable level as Alexandra follows the trail of Spencer's last known movements. The once bright streets now appear sinister in the moonlight, shadows stretching like grasping fingers across her path. Every footstep echoing on the cobblestones feels like it could be alerting unseen enemies to her presence. She clutches Spencer's pistol tighter, remembering his hasty lessons on how to use it. "Point and squeeze," he had told her, "and pray you never need to." Now, with her heart pounding against her ribs, she fears that prayer has gone unanswered. When Alexandra finally discovers signs of the struggle, a torn piece of fabric she recognizes from Spencer's coat and dark stains on the stones that the rain couldn't fully wash away, she has to stifle a scream. Evidence of violence surrounds her, but Spencer is nowhere to be found. Was he taken? Is he dead? The questions torment her as she searches desperately for any clue to his fate. It's then that she notices a trail of blood droplets leading away from the main scene, as if someone wounded had managed to stagger away. With renewed determination, she follows this tenuous lifeline, praying it will lead her to Spencer. Back in Montana, the ranch faces its own crisis as Banner Creighton's men have begun strategically cutting off water access to Yellowstone sections, a slow strangulation that Jacob recognizes as the prelude to all-out war. "They're forcing our hand," Jacob tells his assembled ranch hands and family members. "They want us to strike first so they can claim self-defense when they bring their full force against us." The parallels between Spencer's battle for survival abroad and the Duttons' fight for their land at home create an intense, nail-biting episode, setting the stage for a finale that promises heartbreak, resilience, and the unyielding spirit that defines the Dutton family. Between the dangers facing both branches of the Dutton family, Spencer and Alexandra in Europe, and Jacob and Kara in Montana, the central theme that has defined the series is underlined. The Dutton legacy is both a blessing and a curse, offering purpose but demanding blood. In a shocking turn of events, Alexandra's past collides violently with her present. The man she once promised to marry has arrived in the same European city, armed with his family's vast connections and an unshakable sense of ownership. His presence is more than just a threat. It's a cruel reminder of the life she abandoned, the gilded cage of aristocracy, standing in stark opposition to the rugged, unforgiving world Spencer calls home. She was never meant for a life of struggle, he sneers to his men as they scour the streets. "I'm merely reclaiming what was mine before she ruins herself completely." His chilling entitlement sends a shiver down viewers' spines, but his intentions are even more disturbing. To him, Spencer Dutton is nothing more than an obstacle one. He has no plans to leave breathing. Meanwhile, Alexandra's frantic search leads her to a dimly lit, back-alley medical office, a haven for those who can't afford hospital care or wish to avoid official attention. The doctor, a weary man with sharp eyes and a reluctance to get involved, initially denies treating any Americans. But as Alexandra's desperation mounts and the last of their travel money changes hands, his resolve crumbles. "A man matching that description was brought in hours ago," he admits at last, his voice laced with something close to pity. "Lost a lot of blood. Should have stayed, but he wouldn't listen. Said someone was waiting for him. Someone who'd worry." Relief floods Alexandra. Spencer is alive. But terror grips her just as fast. How much strength does he have left? The doctor's finger points toward the docks. That's where Spencer insisted on going. Injuries be damned. The scene shifts, a haunting, rain-soaked portrait of a man running on sheer willpower. Spencer, barely conscious, drags himself through the fog-shrouded docks, his breath ragged, his vision blurring. He's done the unthinkable, secured passage on a freighter set to sail at dawn. His plan is heartbreakingly clear: to throw his pursuers off Alexandra's trail, leading them away while she remains safe. It's a move born of love, but also of resignation, an unspoken acceptance of the fate that all Duttons seem destined for. As he slumps against a stack of crates, blood staining the wooden planks beneath him. His mind drifts to Alexandra, her laughter on the African plains, her unwavering strength in the face of danger, the way she always saw past the scars life had left on him. A sad, almost knowing smile flickers across his lips. Some men, he whispers to the night, aren't meant for happiness. The emotional core of the episode reveals itself as Spencer's motivation becomes clear. He believes the Dutton curse has caught up to him, and the only way to protect Alexandra is to separate from her. His decision mirrors the sacrifices made by Duttons before him, placing family obligation and protection of loved ones above personal happiness. As dawn approaches, Spencer's condition worsens. The blood loss and trauma have taken their toll, and he drifts in and out of consciousness on the dock. In these delirious moments, he converses with ghosts of his past, his brother, killed in World War I, his father, who died when he was young, and, most hauntingly, his future children with Alexandra, who now may never exist. Meanwhile, Alexandra's race against time intensifies. She navigates the unfamiliar port, frantically questioning sailors and dock workers about an injured American. The language barrier complicates her search, but her desperation transcends words. She shows Spencer's photograph, mimes injuries, and offers what little money they have left for information. The docks are a dangerous place for a woman alone, especially one as obviously out of place as Alexandra, with her refined accent and manner. Several times, she narrowly avoids troubling encounters, her hand never straying far from Spencer's pistol. Her transformation from sheltered aristocrat to survivor is nearly complete, forged in the crucible of her love for Spencer and the dangers that have followed them across continents. In a parallel storyline at the Yellowstone Ranch, Kara makes a decision that will have far-reaching consequences. Without telling Jacob, she sends a telegram to an old connection in Europe, someone from her life before marrying into the Dutton family. "I would not ask if any other option remained," her message reads. "My nephew Spencer and his fiancée Alexandra are in grave danger. Any help you can provide will not be forgotten." This subplot reveals new depths to Kara's character and history, suggesting she has resources and connections from her past that she's kept hidden, even from Jacob. Her willingness to reveal these secrets now underscores the dire situation Spencer and Alexandra face. The episode builds toward its climax as Alexandra finally spots a familiar form slumped among cargo containers near a ship preparing to depart. Her cry of relief quickly turns to horror as she realizes the severity of Spencer's condition. When she reaches him, his skin is ashen and cold, his breathing shallow. "You weren't supposed to find me," he whispers, his voice barely audible over the harbor sounds. "They'll follow me, not you." Alexander's response is immediate and fierce. "You are my home. Wherever you go, I go. Whatever fate comes, we face it together." Their reunion is both tender and heartbreaking, leaving viewers wondering if these might be their final moments together. As Alexandra attempts to help Spencer to his feet, planning to find better medical help than the questionable doctor provided, they are suddenly surrounded by the henchmen who attacked Spencer earlier, now joined by Alexandra's former fiancé. "This sad display only confirms what I told your father," he says to Alexandra, looking with disgust at Spencer's condition. "You've thrown yourself away on a dying breed, a man with nothing to offer but violence and struggle." Alexandra places herself between Spencer and the men, the pistol now drawn and aimed with trembling hands. The standoff creates unbearable tension, especially as Spencer tries and fails to stand, too weakened by his injuries to protect her as he has always done before. The former fiancé makes his offer with cold precision. Alexandra can return to England with him, resume her position in society with a suitable story explaining her absence, and Spencer will be allowed to leave on the freighter alone, but alive. Refuse, and both will die on the docks, their bodies dumped in the harbor to be discovered days later, if ever. There is no scenario where you leave together, he tells them. The only question is whether one or both of you dies today. Alexandra's response showcases how far she has come from the naive young woman who first appeared in the series. You never understood me. I would rather die beside the man I love than live 1,000 years in your world of empty privilege. The standoff at the docks is more than just a clash. It's the very heartbeat of Alexandra and Spencer's love story. It's defiance against the world, a testament to their unbreakable bond, and a declaration that nothing, not distance, danger, or even death, will tear them apart. Spencer, battered but unyielding, stands as proof of their shared resilience, while Alexandra, hands steady on the gun, embodies the fierce determination that has long defined the Dutton women. She may not have been born into the name, but she has earned it. I've learned much since I left England, she tells her former fiancé, steel in her voice, including how to use this. Then, the moment erupts. Alexandra's former fiancé signals his men forward, confident she won't pull the trigger. He is wrong. The crack of the gunshot shatters the air. A man stumbles back, clutching his bleeding shoulder. Her aim isn't perfect, but her resolve is unshaken. Seagulls burst into flight, startled by the chaos. For a split second, disbelief flickers across her ex's face, then twists into seething rage. You've become as savage as he is, he snarls, his aristocratic mask slipping. Alexandra doesn't flinch. Her voice is steady, powerful. No, I've become free? The rising commotion draws dockworkers and sailors, turning the would-be ambush into a spectacle. Eyes dart between Alexandra's gun and Spencer's bloodied form, and suddenly, the plan for a clean execution unravels. Hesitation creeps into the former fiancé's posture. And then, Spencer moves, summoning the last reserves of strength forged through war, the African wilderness, and the brutal trials of his own legacy. He rises behind Alexandra bloodied, but unbowed. He is the Dutton will made flesh. He does not surrender. You should have made sure I was dead the first time, he tells the men who attacked him. In Montana, tension likewise reaches its breaking point as Banner Creighton's men make their boldest move yet, damming the creek that provides essential water to the Yellowstone Ranch's northern pastures. When Jacob's ranch hands discover the blockage and the armed men guarding it, a firefight erupts that will have consequences throughout the territory. The parallel crises on two continents reinforce the sense that the Dutton family is fighting for its very existence on all fronts. Kara, receiving no immediate response to her telegram seeking help for Spencer and Alexandra, makes a decision that reveals the steel at her core. If they want war, we'll give them war. Back at the European harbor, the standoff is interrupted by the arrival of port authorities, drawn by the gunshot and commotion. Alexandra's former fiancé must now decide quickly escalate to murder in front of witnesses or retreat temporarily. His breeding and calculation win out over his rage, and he backs away with a chilling promise. This isn't finished. There's nowhere in the world you can hide from me. As he and his remaining men blend into the growing crowd of onlookers, Alexandra turns her full attention to Spencer, who collapses once the immediate threat recedes. His condition is deteriorating rapidly, and the ship that represented his escape plan is now leaving without him. In a desperate move, Alexandra flags down a Spencer's condition comes with serious caveats. He remains in critical condition, and the next 24 hours will determine whether he survives. Alexandra's reply is simple but profound. He's a Dutton. This exchange underscores the central theme of the entire series that there is something exceptional in the Dutton bloodline, a resilience that borders on supernatural, forged through generations of fighting for survival against all odds. Alexandra is finally permitted to see Spencer, though he remains unconscious. The sight of him pale, connected to primitive medical equipment, his powerful frame now looking suddenly vulnerable, nearly breaks her composure. Again, she takes his hand, noticing how cold it feels compared to the warmth she's always associated with him. In a voice barely above a whisper, she begins to tell him about their future, not as a desperate plea for him to live, but as an act of creation, speaking their dreams into existence. "When you wake, we'll find passage to America," she says. "Your Aunt Kara will teach me to make that bread you described, the one that made your childhood home smell like heaven. I'll learn to ride properly, not the side saddle nonsense I was taught." As Alexandra continues this one-sided conversation, a nurse observes from the doorway with compassion before informing her that a telegram has arrived for her. This unexpected communication raises immediate questions. No one should know they're here, and Alexandra gave no surname at the hospital. With trepidation, she opens the message to find it's from Kara Dutton, responding to the telegram Kara sent to her mysterious European contact. "Help coming. Hold fast. Duttons, endure." Kara's message is brief, urgent, a lifeline thrown across the vast ocean. The very fact that she managed to track down Spencer and Alexandra hints at influence and connections far deeper than anyone suspected. She is more than just the Dutton matriarch. She is a force moving unseen pieces on the board. Back in Montana, confirmation arrives her plea for help has been received, and reinforcements are being set in motion. But as one battle begins overseas, another rages at home. The walls are closing in on the Yellowstone. Banner Creighton's powerful allies have launched a legal siege, challenging the ranch's water rights in a ruthless bid to cripple the Duttons. At the same time, whispers slither through the community rumors of financial ruin, of debts too steep to climb out of a dynasty on the verge of collapse. If the Duttons fall, it won't be with a gunshot, but with a slow, merciless suffocation engineered by men in suits rather than outlaws on horseback. Time is running out. "They attack us from all sides," Jacob observes, "like wolves circling a wounded bison." Kara's response reveals her unshakable faith. Then they'll learn what it means to face a wounded Dutton. Back in Europe, Alexandra maintains her vigil at Spencer's bedside, speaking to him continuously as if her voice alone could tether him to life. Hospital staff attempt to convince her to rest, but she refuses to leave him even for a moment. "The last time we were separated, this happened," she tells a sympathetic nurse. "I won't risk it again." During this vigil, Alexandra notices Spencer's fingers moving slightly, then his eyelids fluttering. Hope surges within her as she calls urgently for a doctor. Spencer's return to consciousness is gradual first, a squeeze of her hand, then his eyes opening briefly before closing again, and finally his voice, hoarse but unmistakable, "Alexandra." In the episode's emotional climax, Spencer fully awakens to find Alexandra beside him, her face showing the toll of fear and sleepless worry, but illuminated with joy at his recovery. His first coherent question reveals what drove him to cling to life. "Are you safe?" When she assures him that she is and that help is coming from his family in America, his next words demonstrate the unwavering determination that defines him. "We need to move. They'll look for us here." Even grievously injured, his instinct to protect Alexandra and his focus on survival remain paramount. The doctor, however, is adamant that moving Spencer would likely kill him, creating yet another impossible situation for the couple. The episode concludes with a sequence that masterfully intertwines the two main storylines. As Jacob and Kara Dutton stand on their porch at Yellowstone, they watch riders approaching in the distance, either allies coming to their aid or enemies bringing the fight to their doorstep. Meanwhile, Spencer makes a decision that could save or doom him and Alexandra. Despite medical advice, he insists on being discharged, believing that remaining in one known location makes them vulnerable. Duttons don't wait for death to find them, he tells Alexandra with grim humor. "We go out and meet it on our terms." As they make preparations for this dangerous move, Neither is aware of exactly what help has been sent or when it might arrive. The screen fades to black, leaving viewers on the knife's edge of suspense until the season finale. The episode's final moments unfold in silence, no words, just raw emotion etched into every glance. In Montana, Jacob methodically checks his rifle, while Kara loads hers with the quiet resolve of someone who knows the battle ahead could be their last. Across the ocean, Alexandra tightens her grip around Spencer, steadying him as they prepare to face whatever awaits. Two battlefields, one unbreakable spirit. These parallel images drive home the season's defining truth. The Dutton legacy isn't just about blood, it's about the relentless will to survive. It's about standing firm when the world pushes back, about fighting for what's yours, no matter the cost. And as the screen fades to black, one thing is certain: this fight is far from over. As the screen fades to black, viewers are left wondering, is this truly the end for Alexandra and Spencer, or the beginning of their greatest triumph?